Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news as Mind Games enter Old Trafford. Are we really in for Emi Martinez, or are we been played again? What's going on with the striker situation? Marcus Rashford has apparently offered himself to Real Madrid, a little bit like me offering myself to Margot Robbie. She's going to say no. And also we've got Jadon Sancho for Juventus and a few other bits as well. I just want to give a big shout out to Joe as well, who says he's running up their hill. Old school. Yeah, it's lovely weather here in the UK, so it's beer garden time, and that's what we're talking about. But also, let me just get this back where it was. Oh, God, what was I going to say? Yeah, Osimhen, Ekitike, Jonathan David, got a little bit on that. Damasio talking about Marco Carnesecchi, the Atalanta goalkeeper, being now an option for Manchester United as well. Sky Sports is saying Juventus and Sancho and a few other bits. And it's a Friday night, so look, I think we need it tonight, don't we? We need a bit of a Q&A on the show tonight. So let's go for it. Let's go for it. Lovely stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think the goalkeeper stuff's really interesting. My glasses keep slipping down my nose because it's so bloody hot. Hot. My day was made better by the Apollo Tyres deal. I've seen it all over TikTok, mate. That was just a joke on the show this morning, wasn't it? Talking about sponsors, though, a lot of people have been asking me about this T-shirt I've been wearing because it's not my normal T-shirt that I wear, but this actually is True Classic as well. And we're sponsored by True Classic tonight. So True Classic, I wear a lot of their T-shirts normally in the winter under a shirt, in the summer just on its own, but they actually do these polos as well. Really good. I've had it on all day. That doesn't make any difference, but you could too be wearing a very, very well-fitting T-shirt with True Classic. Link is in the description. Just right, snug across the shoulders with a bit of room around the waist and making you feel comfortable without looking sloppy. But it's not just T-shirts. As I said, they've got polos, joggers, sweatshirts, hoodies, which are moisture wicking and quick drying, perfect to kick off the new year fitness plans or just lounge in. They've also got underwear, socks, hats you can kit out your entire wardrobe with as well. So check out our exclusive link, trueclassic.com/UnitedStand to save while you're at it. That's trueclassic.com/UnitedStand. Link is in the video description, or you can scan the QR code. Brilliant for T-shirts, but they've also got other stuff like this as well. Check it out. Fantastic clothing items for you. Okay, let's get into the show. I'm really struggling. I actually sat on my glasses today, and I reckon that's the problem. Have we got any opticians in the house? I think I've sat on them, and they're not perfectly fitting well now, I don't think. It might just be the heat. They are slipping down my face a little bit. It's a Friday night. We can deal with it. We be the one you're wearing? Unwashed as 1 inch one. Okay, look, it's not that type of show. I will block you. I really find, honestly, the cringy sexual weirdo super chats. I'm just going to come out very, very obviously here and say, I don't like them. I find them a bit weird on a football show. And I'm going to leave it at that. Right, let's get into the show. So, Emi Martinez is where we're going to start. Mind Games is what we're going for. Damasio basically came out this afternoon following up the story from The Keep that Monaco are interested in Onana, but Manchester United are looking at the Atalanta goalkeeper, not Gianluca, Marco Carnesecchi. He's got a contract till 2029. I think he's 24 years of age, and they're looking for 50 million euros. A few people have said, can you talk about that? I will talk about the goalkeeper situation. I'll talk about it very, very clearly. Man United are making out that they're not in for him at all. Emi Martinez or anybody, they're putting it out there that Onana's their goalkeeper. Really, really weird. Really, really weird approach. I don't really get it. It's certainly not what Amorim wants. It's certainly not what Wilcox wants. I just wonder whether they know Onana won't go. So they're just having to put up with the situation because, honestly, it is coming out from the club again today that they expect Onana to be the goalkeeper next season, playing as their number one, which is incredible when he's been nothing short of shit for the last 2 years. So, I mean, look, they're stubborn, they're stupid, and there is taking people for idiots. And there is just absolutely no logical sense that Ruben Amorim would walk into that football club and say, Onana's my number one. And it starts to get a little bit confusing and a little bit tiring and a little bit repetitive because every manager at Man United's had to do this. They come in and they have to use the previous manager's flops. And at the moment, that's the story United are putting out. Now, Amorim doesn't want Onana. Everybody knows that. I don't think Wilcox wants Onana, but this is a business decision. They can't get rid of him. They're rubbish at getting rid of players. And I think they're just putting it out there that Onana's our number one because they know they can't get rid of him because he's got the power. So what about the Emi Martinez story? Well, the thing about the Emi Martinez story is he would love to come to Man United. I think this is the club he wants to play for. And I think it's all coming from his agent. And we've said this before, when it comes to the 5 strands of transfers, one of them actually is the agent using Man United. And I think this is the agent using Man United to try and, stoke up some interest to see if we will bite. But I don't think we're going to bite because I don't think we've got the money. And I think Aston Villa need to do the deal before the end of June to get some money in for PSR reasons. They're talking about 40 million because Maignan price was 25 million and Chelsea walked away. So they're saying, well, Martinez should be 30 to 40 million. But the reality is that's mind games as well because Emery doesn't like Martinez and Martinez wants to leave. So it's a little bit like Garnacho, isn't it? He's not worth 60 million when Amorim wants him to go and Garnacho wants to go. So the reality is George Mendes is apparently the agent, says Sky Go. So maybe that can help us. But what a lot of people are reporting tonight, I've seen it in the Daily Mail, I've seen it, I think the Manchester Evening News or somewhere else, is that Man United aren't in for Martinez. It's Martinez pushing for Manchester United, and Man United just keep saying, we're sticking with Onana. So, look, whether you think Martinez is a good move or not, at the moment, it's sort of being... And look, it might be part of the game. I don't know. But what I do know is what everybody else knows, is that Ruben Amorim, Jason Wilcox, footballing people, no way are they going to walk into that football club and say, yeah, we'd love to keep an Eric Ten Hag mistake. And that's what he is. He's an Eric Ten Hag mistake. He doesn't suit this football club. He's not good enough in goal. Everybody knows that. Anybody who's good at football knows that. Ben Foster said it to me 18 months ago. Like, he said he's just not a good goalkeeper. Technically, he's just not good enough, and he's never going to be good enough. So Amorim's going to know that. Wilcox is going to know that. But if you can't get rid of him because he's got the power, you can't get rid of him. And United at the moment are putting out that he's the number one. I do think you could knock on the door of Villa in the next 10 days and say, we'll give you 25 and see what they do, because Villa will want a lot of money, but they need to do the deal in the next 10 days. And Martinez doesn't want to stay at Villa. And Emery doesn't want to keep Martinez, so they want to move on. But United have got to be in that deal if they want to do it, and I don't think we are by the sounds of it. I'm not saying that Onana will be our goalkeeper next year, but Manchester United are certainly putting it out there. And I don't for 1 minute believe this story about Carnesecchi in goal. I actually tweeted this today. When was the last time Di Marzio was right about a Man United deal? Look, aggregators still use Di Marzio. Respect Di Marzio, the summer of Mourinho, Pogba, Mkhitaryan, Zlatan, all Riola clients, obviously very close to Di Marzio. It was a very, very good summer for Di Marzio, but he's never been good since. He's an Italian journalist who gets stuff from Italian clubs, and this story just... I don't see it at all. And it's not... Look, GGMU says, I love how Arsenal dealt with Raya and Ramsdale. Yeah, but I liked how they did that. But Man United are weak. We're weak in the transfer market. And look, we've got some other stories about Rashford and Sancho to talk about, and Anthony as well. But we're weak. We're weak at removing players. And I do worry about the noise coming out from the club at the moment that Onana is our number one, because you just make yourselves look completely and utterly amateurish. Like, it's not even an opinion piece, it's a fact. He is a laughingstock in the whole Premier League and fan base. There are very few people out there that have got any confidence that Onana is a goalkeeper you can go into next season with any optimism. So United putting it out there might be to show us position of strength that he's a good goalkeeper in case somebody wants him. But sometimes you can't fool people. Sometimes you've got to own it. And I just feel sorry, ultimately, before we move on to the next topic, I feel sorry for Ruben Amorim if that's what the club are doing to him. And at some point, he's got to look at it and go, what did I sign up to here? Not only have I been hung out to dry for the last 7 months, I'm now going to be given Onana in goal for another season, and they expect me to get in the bloody Champions League. It's like a double negative, isn't it? So, look, we'll have to wait and see. There is obviously plenty of time left in the transfer window, but I don't see an out for Onana, so I don't see an in. And I think that's what United are saying. He's our number one because they'll know more than we know that they can't get rid of him. There we go. Reese, thanks for your membership. I love you, Mark, says Nick. Diego Costa then, fingers crossed, says Jay. Diego Costa, Carnesecchi, Martinez, Suzuki, Edwin van der Sar. You can chuck names of goalkeepers. You're not listening to what I'm saying, Jay. If you can't remove Onana, you don't get a goalkeeper. And I don't think they can remove Onana, so that's why I think they're saying he's our number one. We will do 40 million if they buy Garnacho for 60, says Who to Blame. You've got to be very careful with that. I don't want to get technical on a Friday night because I've been down the beer garden, but that would be classed as a swap deal with FIFA, and that wouldn't work for us at all. We can't do a swap deal with a youth player. Their book value is 0, and it kills it for financial FFP reasons, so I don't think we would be doing that. I love how Arsenal dealt with Ray and Ramsdale, says GGMU. They probably don't want to show their hand, saying you want to place Onana absolutely destroys any chance of a fee, says Random Guy. Hope so. I hope so. Do you see a possible Arsenal situation where they had 2 number 1 goalkeepers to push Onana out, says EG. Well, I'd hope we would do that. I'd like to think we'd do that, but I don't know. I don't know. Hi, mate. Have you seen the new youth player... No, Harry, that just sounds like something rude. Any special news? Why delayed start, says Kevin. You're not a regular, are you? Could you imagine if Liverpool kept Lloris? That's the difference between us. Carrius, Kevin, not Lloris. Who is harder to sell, Rashford or Grealish, says Roman. Well, look, we'll whiz through the news and obviously get through some of your questions. Did you see that coming out from Spain tonight that Marcus Rashford has offered himself to Real Madrid? Now, look, I feel bad that he didn't get the Barcelona move, or it doesn't look like he's going to get the Barcelona move. I really had hoped he was going to get it, and I thought it would have been a good move for him. But offering yourself up to Real Madrid is like me offering myself up to Tarantino for his last film. Or, you know, Ugly Phil offering himself up to Margot Robbie. You know, they're not going to be interested. I don't think Real Madrid are going to be interested in Marcus Rashford. If they were, brilliant. It's great for him. But I suppose, look, people can take the piss out of it, but I'm not taking the piss. I actually think that in relation to Rashford, I haven't got a lot to say, but I do have sympathy because if I'm being completely honest, and you can argue whether he deserved it or not, but Amorim did him dirty in January, and he did. And some people agreed with it and some people didn't. And I'm not here to argue the whys and the wrongs and rights of that. But he did do him dirty. I mean, he literally told the whole world that he's lazy, he doesn't work hard enough, and that's why he's not in the team on more than one occasion. So there is a point to this. So you can't ridicule Marcus Rashford for trying to get a move to Barcelona, Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern Munich. He's not doing anything wrong. And in fact, that's his agent doing the right thing. They're trying to get him the best move possible. So you offer yourself to Real Madrid, you offer yourself to Barcelona. You know, he might end up at Preston at this stage, but look, at least, you know, aim for the stars, and you might hit the street light. In this case, you do well to bloody hit a streak of grass. But, you know, it's they are doing, you know, he's training really hard. We've seen it on Instagram. His agent's offering him out to all the big clubs. I don't really see what the point is, rather than a bit of banter. You know, he is doing the right things. And let's not forget, it was Amorim in January that sort of devalued him by saying he's lazy. So we can laugh that Real Madrid might not want him. We can laugh that Bayern Munich don't want him. But Amorim devalued him in January. And I'm not slagging Amorim off. You know I back Amorim. But I'm coming to the point. I really think with Rashford, we should just loan him out ASAP, because we've contributed to this situation as much as he has. Obviously, he has to take full responsibility. He's been crap for a long time at United. He wasn't putting a shift in. Quite rightly got dropped for many games. But we've got to resolve. We can't sit there. What I'm trying to say is, it's abundantly clear that there is no buyer for Marcus Rashford, and there's not going to be a buyer for Marcus Rashford. So Man United need to stop taking the piss, thinking that we're not going to loan him. We want a permanent deal, because I can't see a permanent deal. You gave him 300 grand a week and a massive contract 2 years ago. That contract's still got 3 or 4 years left on it. No one's buying him. No one's paying those wages. So we'd be better off just going, you're available for loan. If they cover your wages, you're available for loan, sort it out and get yourself done early July. Because what I can see happening is they're going to go, no, we're not doing a loan deal. We want a permanent deal. And if you're Rashford's agent, you're going to say back, look, I'm not Harry Potter. I'm just an agent. I can't magic a permanent deal. If I could, we'd be bloody gone. We hoped Barcelona, that's off the table. You tell us where there's a permanent deal that we can do and we'll talk. But we're not going Saudi. We're not going Turkey. We're not going MLS. We're staying in Europe, in one of the top 5 leagues, and no one's going to buy him. So loan's the best thing we can do. I just think get that loan deal done in the next 2 weeks and let him go. Let him have a good pre-season and we'll get the value back then. If he has a good pre-season, starts scoring goals, has a good season, we'll get money for him next summer. But we're not going to get money for him now. No one's going to buy him. So I just feel like United are setting themselves up to be ridiculed here, where we go, we're not loaning him, we want a permanent deal, and then all through July, it's this whole, is he going on the tour? Is he going to get game time? And him and Amorim will be pretending they get on, and we know they don't get on because it'll be like Ten Hag and Sancho all over again. I just think sometimes good business people, and I say business because it's Man United, but good leaders notice problems that aren't going to go the way they're going to go. They want them to, so they just take what they can get. You know, I might want to sell my car for £1,000, and somebody says you're only going to get 250. Right, take the 250, get rid of the car. And I think with United, we're not going to get a transfer fee for Rashford. It's very, very obvious. So go to him and say, get yourself a good loan deal where they cover the wages off, give us a bit of a fee, and get yourself gone. And that's what I would do, because his agent's actually doing the right job at the moment, offering him to Real Madrid, offering him to Bayern Munich. The scary thing is, Bayern Munich need a winger. Arsenal need a winger. There are good teams that need a winger, and they're not queuing up for Marcus Rashford. So we need to sort a loan deal out, and we need to sort one out soon. Brandon says, has Rashford become somewhat radioactive at this point, along with Sancho? Both seem to have some sort of mentality issue, and then their wages are way over the odds. What clubs would take the risk? I think you've absolutely nailed it, Brandon. I was thinking of exactly the same thing today. If I was, and I remember saying this just before January, if I was the manager of Brighton, I'd take Marcus Rashford tomorrow. If I was Villa, I'd take him tomorrow. If I was Dortmund, I'd take him tomorrow. But we can't buy him, and we can't pay the wage. So United have put themselves in this position by, whoever negotiated that contract was a twat, basically. It wasn't like the warning signs weren't already there with Rashford. We gave him a contract after a bad season the year before last. So it is a wages issue. And that's why I'm going. I didn't mean to do that, actually. That's why I'm going. I ain't going to get a fee for him this year. The only way I'm going to get a fee for Rashford is probably next year. Look, let me break it down. I'm not going to get a fee for Marcus Rashford because his wage is too big and I can't get value. But if I get him out on loan now and he has a pre-season at Spurs or Dortmund or wherever, and he gets in the England squad and he scores a load of goals and he goes to the World Cup and he does well in the World Cup, this time next year, I've got my money. And that's how you got to think. And that's what I'm saying. But I feel United are going to go, no, we want to sell him this summer. And he won't get a pre-season because we'll try to sell him. And we'll get into August and he'll have to go on loan, and he won't have had a pre-season, and it might be a disruptive season, and he might not get in the England squad, and he might not have a good season, and then you'll be stuck again next year. The obvious thing to do is to get him into a team now so he has a good season. And we can't do that through a transfer, so do it through a loan. Get on with it. Move it. It's good business. Why Madueke to Arsenal? Are they serious, says Rajaf? I don't know whether that's true, but I certainly read about it. Liverpool are going to sell Kwanzaa for 34 million, yet United's highest selling fee in recent years was Dan James for 30 million to Leeds. Shows just how woeful United are in selling players, says I'm begging for Wi-Fi. And the best thing about that is it's Eric Ten Hag giving Liverpool 35 million. I'm going off Ten Hag. He was the one who gave Rashford the contract. He was the one who bought Onana. He was the one who sold De Gea. He was the one who bought Anthony. He's the one who's buying fucking Kwanzaa for 35 million. Yeah, I'm going off him very, very quickly. K Young says, in relation to Rashford, he screwed his own career by disrespecting the club and the badge. Funny people in this social media age think they're invincible from the truth. Ashware says, yeah, but Roman Amorim had constant media asking about Rashford. Says, mate, I'm not having a pop at Amorim. What I'm saying is Amorim was very truthful about Rashford and they were constantly asking about him. But he did devalue him by saying he was lazy. People aren't going to be as open to taking a risk on him when they know what they know. That's why I think as a business or as a football club, we should say to Rashford, get yourself a loan move for the start of July, go and have a good season, and then you'll get your move you want next year. It just hasn't worked out for this summer. Surely our board sees Liverpool making huge strides and realise how absolute shit and slow we are. Forget Gyokeres and look elsewhere ASAP, says Barry. Yeah, I mean, look, we're not here to talk about Liverpool, but it makes a mockery of what Berrada said on Tuesday. It's good for the football club to take our time on transfers because we can save money, basically. But you look at Liverpool, the champions of England, Wirtz, Frimpong, Gyokeres, and they're moving for Guehi now. It's June the 20th. They've got 3 deals done, and they're going for Guehi. And then they're going for a forward. And they're the champions. But United are there going, it's actually a good thing that we negotiate with Brentford for Mbeumo forever. It's actually a good thing that we sit on our arse and wait and see what's happening with the striker. It's weird. Are we already paying Cunha his weekly wage, says Zakil? I don't know. Rashford to Real, no way. Maybe Atletico, says United star. Marco Carnesecchi has been indecisive under aerial bombardment. We don't want someone else that needs work on cross-claiming. We're not in for Carnesecchi. I just don't believe DiMarzio on anything United related anymore. I mean, he has missed more than Timo Werner on United transfer news over the last sort of 6 years. When do expiring contract players officially leave, says La Familia? I'd rather take Fabianski over Onana, says United star. Remember Matic called him the worst goalkeeper ever, says P. Don. Do we owe Onana 15 million for the next 2 years, says La Familia? Liverpool will do this every year, have 1 year without buying in July and August, and can now do their spend every June. Pick of the bunch before others can spend every year due to PSR. It's a very clever thing to do, Jeff, actually. Very clever. Thank you very much. Yeah, just in relation to players that are out of contract, it's July the 1st. So Lindelof and Eriksen are still Man United players till July the 1st. On July the 1st, Man United will put a bloody tweet out saying, thanks, you've officially gone. Jonathan David is officially free on July the 1st. United not in for Jonathan David, by the way. We've never really looked at that deal. Somebody was on about that today. On the striker situation, and I'm not saying this is definitive, but I did have a quick look at this before we started the show. And look, it's really difficult because I think this has been a terrible week for Manchester United transfers. Obviously, we've all lived it together. But you don't always get the truth from this, but the bookmakers are very rarely wrong. So this is how it's looking with the striker situation at the moment involving the 3 strikers that we're probably most linked to. Victor Osimhen is odds on to Galatasaray or Saudi. United like 8-1 miles out. So Osimhen, according to the bookmakers, not a chance really. Ekitike, we are joint favourites with Liverpool, but odds are actually shortening on him staying at Frankfurt and drifting on him going to Chelsea. So if you want Ekitike, Chelsea appear to be out of the race. Him staying at Frankfurt seems to be becoming more in the race, but it's still United and Liverpool favourites to get Ekitike. I don't want that deal to happen. It probably will happen because I don't want it to happen, but that's the shortest odds we've got. And we're with Liverpool on that. And then with Gyokeres, Arsenal still slightly ahead of Man United, but both odds on to get him. So Arsenal slight favourites, but we're still short odds with Gyokeres. And the odds are shorter on Gyokeres coming to Man United than Ekitike as well. So that's sort of where we are with the striker situation. Look, you don't have to listen to that. It's just bookmakers and what their odds are at the moment, and what do they know. But I think with the striker situation, it's slow. You know, it's slow. We wanted Delap, he went to Chelsea, and now we're in this situation where it feels like we're just waiting to pick something up that other people don't want. If Arsenal go for Sesko, we might go for Gyokeres. If Liverpool go for Isak, we might get Ekitike. So we're sort of stuck at the moment on what it is we want to happen with the striker situation. And we haven't bought Mbeumo yet, have we? So, yeah, I think it's... look, it's not that I don't want to talk about it. If someone wants to talk about it, we can talk about it. But the striker situation is... what are we on? 21st of... I mean, look, if nothing happens next week, and I'm not going to say anything is going to happen next week, if nothing happens next week, then it's basically July. And they're going to be back in training very, very soon. So I hope that something can happen next week, but realistically, it's Mbeumo first before it's anything else, isn't it? Sorry, I just had a message here about Sancho. Let me just check it. Yeah, just on Jadon Sancho. Okay, so Jadon Sancho situation looks like this. Sky Sports, actually, and others are reporting that Jadon Sancho's representatives are in talk with Juventus, and that there's interest from Juventus. Now, Jadon Sancho's a weird one. I feel like I'm talking about... I don't know whether anybody else sort of gets this. And start getting your questions in. I want to go through some of your questions. That's what Friday night's all about. But I do feel like with Jadon Sancho, and I don't know whether anybody else sort of agrees with this, I don't feel like he's a Man United player. When I talk about Jadon Sancho, I feel like I'm talking about Jack Grealish at Man City, or like someone was talking about Madueke. I don't feel like he's a Man United player, you know? And Mike Kay says he's a bum. He's a freedom fighter, says Kay Young. But I don't, you know, whenever we talk about Sancho, I always just feel like, didn't we get rid of him a year ago? I think about Jadon Sancho and Man United. We had a summer where he didn't even come, and we spoke about him all summer. Then we had the summer where he did come. Then he was totally shit. Then he went to Chelsea, and then he's still here. We've spent more time talking about Sancho than we've ever seen him bloody play. We feel like we've been talking about him for years. And I tell you what, I watch him play and I just don't get it. I've never got it. All I know is that when he was at Dortmund before we bought him, everybody was saying he was bloody brilliant. And I'll be honest, I hadn't seen that much of him. I'd seen the clips, I'd watched a couple of games, but I just fell for it, and I'll never do it again. I fell for the hype of this guy's amazing, he's tearing it up in the Bundesliga. We've got to go and get him, we need a right winger. And I tell you what, I've watched him so many times, and I think he's bang average. Bang average. In a Chelsea shirt, in a Man United shirt, in an England shirt, I think he's just bang average. And I can't believe we're still talking about him at Man United. But anyway, that's my little moan about it. I will moan about it because we've spent way too much time talking about him. That's my point. Feels like we've been talking about him for 5 years. And we've paid him ridiculous money as well. And let's not forget, he had that period of time where Ten Hag supported him, the fans supported him, and he didn't play football between September and January. And we presume it was because of mental health and everything like that. And he got the support from the fan base and the club and the manager. And then he comes back and he still can't be bothered to support, get behind the club. So I just think get rid of him. Hopefully we'll get rid of him. But I don't understand how he hasn't signed for Chelsea on a permanent deal, but apparently might sign for Juventus. I still don't trust this at all. If he's going to Juventus, surely it's a loan. Now, Man United are saying they want a permanent deal. The only thing I can think of is Chelsea, and I've thought this through, and I've not heard a journalist say it, and then I want to talk about other stuff. My feeling is that Jadon Sancho will go somewhere on loan, run his contract down, and then next year he's free. He can get all his money, he can get, to the bank, etc. As we understand it, Chelsea had to pay £25 million to Manchester United, and they offered Sancho a wage, etc. I'm just wondering if Chelsea said, we can only give you 150 grand a week because we've got to give United 25 million. And he went, that's not enough, and said no. And I'm wondering if Man United are now saying to teams like Juventus, you can have him for 12 million, you can give him 200 grand a week, and that's it. And I'm just wondering if, because Chelsea had to give us 25 million, they couldn't then give him a good wage. And I'm wondering, the reason United might be trying to sell him is pure desperation to get something. And I'm wondering if they're saying to people like, even if you give us 10, we'll take it, and then you can still give him the wage he wants. And I think that might be why there's still talk of a permanent deal, because United are basically going to take whatever they can. But Sancho would still need to agree that it's in his interest. Like, he's not going to go to Juventus for 150 grand a week when in a year's time, he'll get 200 grand a week somewhere because he'll be free. So maybe that's what we're doing. I don't know, but can we just... I would say to Manchester United, just get it done, because nobody sees this player as a Man United player anymore, and nobody's interested. Like, Rashford's interesting as a sale, Garnacho's interesting as a sale, and Nana, please, would be interesting as a sale. But the Sancho story is just so boring. So boring. Get your questions in. Jake says, can you call my friend Will Kelton a prat? Well, I just did. So there we go. That's been done. That reminds me, actually, I have got a message for somebody on the show tonight. Purposely kept it back to the Friday night show. So hopefully I can find it. Let's have a look what's being said in the chat. Lee Goldart says, we don't seem to talk a lot about wing-backs. This is so important for Amorim's system and we're woefully short in these positions. To be fair, and I can't remember who reported it, but to be fair, it was reported that when we didn't get Kenda, we were going to stop talking about right wing backs and left wing backs, and it looks like we have. Okay, so this shout out is from Meg, who says, I want a surprise video for my future husband and super fan of yours, Tom. We get married on Saturday the 21st of June and are flying out to Greece on the Thursday. So hopefully you're in Greece now. And he apparently won the Boohoo Man competition a few years back. So congratulations to Tom and Meg. Although you haven't got married yet, there's still a way out, Meg or Tom. That's banter. But I hope tomorrow, especially when you're flying out to Greece for a holiday and a wedding. I mean, fantastic weather as well. Yeah, lovely stuff. So I hope you have a fantastic life together. I hope you have a fantastic wedding day. And for everybody in the United Stand community, really, really enjoy it tomorrow. Fair play. Enjoy spending the rest of your lives together, hopefully. Hopefully there's no divorce in the next year. Thanks everyone. Thank you to Tom and Meg. I hope you have a great day tomorrow. Okay, let's come back to the chat. So Sancho is a City reject, bang average, says Chris. Bruno looks set to play 6. I'd say Agate next to him is the only one with legs and defence qualities to cover. I hope we get a midfielder, says United Nick. I have been thinking about the midfield a little bit, you know, and I think that I don't like Bruno in the midfield, but what I think Ruben Amorim is going to try and do is basically reinvent the wheel. We're so shit at scoring goals, and that's not a lie. We are shit at scoring goals. And I think we look at it and go, putting Bruno in the midfield is a disaster. But if you get that striker and you've got Cunha and you've got Mbeumo and then Bruno in the midfield and you start scoring goals, I think Amorim's plan is to start winning games 3-1, 4-3, 4-2. I think our plan is to try and overwhelm teams attackingly, which sounds ridiculous based on the last few years, but I think that's what we're going to try and do. Whether it works or not will be interesting, but I think Ruben Amorim has probably had it to the back teeth with the criticism of his system. He can't play that in the Premier League, this, that, and the other. I think his big strategy is to score a lot of goals next season. I think his big plan next season is to go on the front foot. And I think when you put Bruno in the midfield, obviously, you can't be defensive. I mean, look, all for Walk is laughing, but tell me I'm wrong, though, mate. Tell me that's not the plan. We have got Bruno in the midfield, in a midfield two. We can't be organised, structure, and defensively sound. I think we're going to be going on the attack, certainly. Bruno looks set to play as a 6. Anyway, we've done that from United Nick. Why won't any Italian clubs take Rashford? Too expensive, Liam. Too expensive. I think we did this before. The best paid player in Italy, I think, is on 250 grand a week. What's your ideal transfer summer window from now, says Mr. Mojo. I've said it before, mate. It's very easy to be critical of the United board. But if by the middle of July we had a striker, Mbeumo, Cunha and a goalkeeper, I'd say, yeah, that'll do. Let's try and do something more, but that will do. I'd be very, very happy with that. Short-term loss, long-term gain for Rashford, says Don. Yeah, exactly what we were talking about. Good teams in need a winger. Rashford isn't a good winger, says Bobby. Big up absolutely everyone, says Star-Lord. Everyone say hello from nowhere. Have fun, be safe. Thank you very much for that. Love that. Thank you. Get your questions in. We're coming towards the end of the show now on a Friday night. I say towards the end of the show. It was a late start, so we've still got about a good 15 minutes. But it's traditional Friday night fever. It's really hot in the UK today. Seen a few posts saying second bid rejected for Mbeumo. Any truth to that? Says Sam Webb. Is Gyokeres still a possibility for United? Any news on Sesko? We're not in for Sesko. Sesko was a Ten Hag option. He's not an Amorim option. He's an Arteta option, of course. So we're not in for Sesko, and I don't think we'd go for Sesko if Arsenal went for Gyokeres. As I said before, there is nothing out there at the moment about any striker to Manchester United. It's been a dead week. And I told you that the Portuguese reports couldn't be believed, but people were like, you get sat down. A week later, there has been no bid from Arsenal and he's not signed for Arsenal. So I think that when I look at the striker situation, there isn't really much to say other than we are still odds-on favourites with Arsenal for Gyokeres. We're nowhere near Osman, and with Ekatike, we're one of the favourites. So I guess that's where we are with that. Okay. Apparently Chelsea are losing 3-1 to Flamengo. I mean, I got to be honest, I sort of feel sorry for Terry on That's Football because it's such a shit tournament. I'm getting less interested in it. You know? I'm getting less interested in it. I really am. Let me come back to the chat. Do you think Sancho would go to Italy? Look, can we not talk about Sancho? Because I genuinely don't care. Should United sell youth such as Collier and Amas, says United Star? we won't be selling Amas. That would be stupid. I have heard that Collier might be surplus to requirements, but I mean, it's on the other hand, you might want to keep him around because, you know, he might be quite useful to have around as another option in the midfield where I don't think we're actually going to buy anybody in the midfield. Would you rather another midfielder or a wing back, says Daniel? Depends what you're offering me, mate. I mean, who's the midfielder and who's the wing back? I think it's that would be key. But if I had to choose a midfielder or a wing back, I mean, the wing back, who is it? Look, obviously I would love Hakimi at right wing back. I'd take him over Edison in the midfield. On the other hand, I'd take Adam Wharton over Esteban. So it depends what's up for offer, really. But we've got Dorgu on the left-hand side. And then you can't count on Shaw. And you've got Mazraoui and Delo on the right-hand side. I don't think any of them are actually what Amorim really wants to do. GGMU says wing-backs. Why the plural? Amorim got his left wing-back already. He just needs a right wing-back. He can't sign Dorgu and ask for another left wing-back. Well, he can for depth, GGMU, because you do need more than one. If Amorim tells Casemiro his fourth choice with the World Cup coming, won't Casemiro leave, says Srinvasin. You know what? This midfield conversation is really interesting because I was actually thinking about this the other day. At the start of the summer, I would have said, let's get a midfielder. 100%. But we're not at the start of the summer anymore. And people can say it's only June, but I don't count August. August for incomings is embarrassing. It's bad. It's incompetent. So I don't count August. It's stupidity to be buying players in August. The season's already started. You've brought a manager in who's got a different system and he needs a pre-season. If you're buying players in August, it's bloody shameful. It's crap. So we're not at the start of the window anymore. We're nearly at the end of June. When it comes to the midfield, I'm actually just thinking let's go with what we've got. Because Casemiro, Agate, Bruno, Mainu, Collier, let's just go with that. I don't think it's particularly balanced, but we don't have a striker yet. We don't have a goalkeeper yet. We haven't got Mbeumo yet. I don't think we've got time for a midfielder when we still need to sell Garnacho, Antony, Rashford, move Sancho on. So when it comes to the midfield, I'd probably start panicking if Casemiro left. Because I'd be like, who the fuck are we going to get in? And sometimes you're better off with what you've got. So at the start of the summer, I definitely would have liked a midfielder. But where we are now, we haven't moved quick enough on sales and incomings. So I would say it's one area of the pitch like centre-back where you can say there is some quality there that might get us through the season. I don't think there's time. I hope Rashford goes to AC Milan and Sancho to Juventus, says Siska. Nelson says, I had a dream that one day Gyokeres scores for United versus Arsenal first game of the season. I hope you're right, Nelson. Why doesn't Man United pay Sancho his full year's wages in advance in exchange for him to go immediately? Don't clubs do that? Oh yeah, because we can't. We can really afford that, says I'm begging for Wi-Fi said that. We can't afford it, mate. We literally can't afford it. Sheikh Harris, thanks for being a member for 40 months. You're a legend. Big up to the members in the chat, as always, and in the comments. Really appreciate that. Sam Webb, so Mbeumo's second bid not rejected then. I've seen absolutely nothing about an Mbeumo second bid. And I don't think we'll make a second bid until it gets accepted. But I think that, look, I think it's worth saying this. I mean, look, there's still talk of Rashford going to Barcelona. I don't know whether that can still happen, but I think that one thing that really constantly resonates is that we are so bad at selling. Chelsea, brilliant at selling. Man City, brilliant at selling. Liverpool, brilliant at selling. Like, I know we look at Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City as better clubs than us, but they really shouldn't be. That's just the way we've been run over the last decade. It's embarrassing that we are so bad at selling. And Kwanzaa hasn't played a lot of football for Liverpool, and he's going for 35 million quid. We are so bad at selling, and we've been so bad at it for a long time, and I'm not 100% sure it's going to get any better. People keep thinking in a couple of years' time we'll be better at it, but you can already look at some of the Ineos signings and say there's no guarantee. If Agate doesn't have a good year next year, he just becomes the next Rashford, the next Garnacho that, especially if, how would you move him on? So we're just bad. We're just bad at buying and we're bad at selling. And it's hard to see what's going to change that. Success on the field, but then you've got to buy well. When's your next EAFC career mode live, says Brands? I don't know, mate. Won't be this weekend, though. But I only did one yesterday. But I will let you know when I know. The Moose one says, Mark, what's the expectation from the whole team? What standard has to be set from the very first game? And if we show the same unmoving Manchester United from last season, then what? Seriously, I'm excited and nervous at the same time. I can't talk to you about next season until I know what we're doing when it comes to acquisitions and removals. Ultimately, we are still the same shit side from last season that got embarrassed by Spurs in a cup final, plus Cunha. I don't look at Man United in that last season and say, put Cunha in this team and we're fighting for the title. I look at United last season and say, put Cunha in this team and we might get mid-table. So there's a hell of a lot to do before we can start predicting about what's going to happen next season. I think that I think Bruno's got to be big next season, and he's capable of being big. But I think Bruno has to be immaculate next season because he definitely thought about going to Saudi. We all know that. There's no problem with that. The money was life-changing. But he definitely thought about going. This nonsense about loyalty and love for the football club. He thought about going for 3 weeks. I don't mind that. I think he thought about going because he probably has got a brain and thought, is this club truly sinking or is there a way out? And he obviously thinks there's a way out, which is why he's committed to staying. But he's now got to deliver because there was a way to cash in there. So I think Bruno Fernandes will be key next season. He's the captain. He's got to get that team going next season. Yet again, it will be a lot of pressure on Bruno. The simple fact of the matter is we're all talking about players we should sign, but the bean counters in charge are stingier than Scrooge McDuck. 1 or 2 more starters at most, then more prospects, says Brandon. I would love a little low-key 30 million move for Palhinha from Bayern. I haven't heard anyone talk about him. I would love a loan deal for him, actually, Ace St. John. Absolutely would love that. Rashford was booted from the worst Man United squad of all time. Sure, I can totally see Barca in for him. Great sale tactics there, says Johans. I've said this a few times, though. I mean, I don't know whether you should acknowledge it, but I have said it a few times. Mainu can't get into the worst Premier League Man United side in history. Agate couldn't start in the final for the worst Man United Premier League side in history. Rashford and Anthony and Sancho got booted from the worst Man United Premier League side in history. It don't look good, does it? And I think that in answer to the question previous to that, what happens next season, some of these players have got to realise over the summer, whilst they're, having a pina colada and putting their sun cream on, yeah, your bank balance is healthy, but your reputation's in tatters. You are the worst Man United side in Premier League history by a long way. I think our worst ever Premier League points total was 58 or 59. Didn't they get 45? It's embarrassing. And on top of that, if that wasn't bad enough, you lost the cup final to Spurs. Nobody does that. So they have to come back with their heads down a little bit. Not like low confidence, but they've got to come back and realise. I mean, I don't want to see them walking into Carrington smiling. You're fucking shit. As a collective, you are fucking shit. You're an embarrassment. You should be coming back into Carrington with a serious face, ready to go to work. Now, whether Amorim can get them to do that, I don't know. Everyone seems to walk. It'd be winning team again, won't it? Winning team for what? You not bloody won anything. You were shit last season. So what I want to see from United next season is a bloody determination and an acknowledgement that they're shit. I want to see a massive improvement. But as we know, with the king of spin, the club promote it. The club love the marketing, the PR, the kits. So it'll all be smiley, happy people, REM, shiny, happy people holding hands, team of the week and all that bollocks. But actually, They need to go into what they used to do in Serie A years ago, boot camp. You know, they should be in a hotel in the middle of nowhere, running around, you know, working hard. But they won't be. It'll all be glamour and glitz in the United States, won't it? Promotional tour, when actually I bet Amorim would like to have them for 6 weeks in the middle of nowhere, constantly drilling them about football. But that's not the way they work. We need to see effort, says Mini Brew. Exactly. Marcus Goldius, what's the hotometer saying? I don't know what the hotometer's saying, Thomas, but I'm bloody hot. That's what I do know. The Kwanzaa deal stinks of PSR shenanigans, says Lee Galdart. I don't know. I don't know how that's worked because, I mean, this is way above my head, especially at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. But I think it was Swedish Rumble on Twitter who's very good on these things. He said, if United spent £60 million on Osimhen and then 2 weeks later Napoli bought Garnacho for £40 million, that would be looked at by FIFA as a swap deal technically because it's so close together. And if it was seen as a swap deal, because Garnacho would be a youth product, you're not actually registering that much money as pure profit on your books because they see it as a swap deal and a youth player's value on the book is zero. And yet I've just realised Wirtz and Frimpong, Leverkusen, and then Kwanzaa the other way. Is there not technically some sort of swap deal there then? Because it's all happened in the space of a few weeks. But I don't fucking know. I don't know. But there's what's definitely happened there is that in their negotiations, Liverpool have obviously said, yeah, we'll give you this for Wirtz, but you're going to give us this for Kwanzaa. Because I don't know that Kwanzaa's worth 35 million quid. Or 30 million quid. I don't think he's worth 30 million quid, but I don't think Wirtz is worth 115. And I'm not criticising Liverpool here. Chelsea sold their women's team. Man City have been doing this for years. Man United just seem to be the football club that does it by the book. And there's clubs out there doing really clever shit, like selling hotels and this, that and the other. But you know why Liverpool would do that? You know why Chelsea would do it? And you know why Man City would do it and Newcastle would do it? Because they're trying to find ways to spend money. That's why Chelsea sold those hotels and the women team. They're trying to find ways to get money on the books so they can spend money. That's why Man City inflated those sponsorship deals. That's why Liverpool have probably done a deal for Kwanzaa and, you know, all that. Man United don't do it because we've got owners that don't want to spend money. This is like the worst thing in the world. If somebody, you know, if Richard Arnold knocks on the door or Omar Barada knocks on the door to the Glazers and says, I find a way where we can sell this, do this, and it means we can spend more. Get out, you're fired. Why? We don't want to spend money. Stop trying to find loopholes to spend money. Find loopholes to get us more bloody dividends. And that's the difference, isn't it? Other clubs are finding loopholes because they want to spend more money on their team. We've got owners that don't want to bloody spend money. Bert Verbruggen, Demerits his box. Claims crosses. I like Verbruggen, just Tony. I do like Verbruggen. I would like him at Man United. I'd have Ahmad right wing back over Mazraoui and Dalot due to being better in the final third. I think Mazraoui is better at right centre back. Do you think Dalot could play right centre back? Says United Nick. I think the only worry about Ahmad is if you go to somewhere like Anfield or the Emirates and put him at right wing back and he gets caught on the back post like our fullbacks always do, it's going to be a tap in, isn't it, for whoever's on that back post. Is 8 points from the last 5 games of the season okay? Says Nelson. I don't give a shit about the last 5 games of the season. I don't. You get stupid results at the end of the season. I mean, how we beat Villa on the last game of the season, I'll just never know. But I don't really care about that, if I'm being honest, Nelson. We had a shit season and we got 8 points from 5 at the end of the season. It's still a shit season, isn't it? It's about how we start the next one. Sancho will be in Saudi in 2 years, Mark, says Pirates. May have missed anything on Osimhen, says Lewis. We're not in for Osimhen. I think that's what I would say about that. We're not in for him. Melvin says, the management associate, they didn't see the £5 million payback clause for Sancho from Chelsea. How can we trust them? Would you rather go on a date with Sydney Sweeney or Megan Fox? And by the date, I mean taking a walk on the Golden Bridge. Sydney Sweeney or Megan Fox? I mean, come on. I'm a married man and I don't know. I don't know. I'd probably say Sydney Sweeney because I prefer blonde hair. That's it. That's all you're getting from me. Chelsea got 198 million sterling for the women's team, all down as pure profit. It's amazing that you can... How can you sell your women's team as well? Football's so weird, isn't it? Really, really weird. Right, thanks everyone for watching. I'm really getting hot now and I need to just get out. Don't forget, you can get t-shirts like this from True Classic. They're fantastic. Their normal t-shirts are brilliant. Links in the description or scan the QR code. Thanks everyone for watching. We're back, of course, tomorrow in the morning at 10 o'clock. Really appreciate it. Nice to spend a Friday night with you. And I will speak to you all very soon. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.